Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. I wanted to talk about where the market is going to be heading next because the direction is still somewhat unclear and it really could go either way at this point. So I'm going to talk about that more because some people in my previous videos have been commenting that I've been sometimes saying that we might move lower or higher, and really I'm just trying to be a little bit neutral because we're getting a lot of mixed signals. And I'm going to talk that in more detail because I actually made a little Twitter storm, but I mentioned how we're seeing a lot of false alerts, a lot of mixed signals right now throughout the marketplace, and that's why there may be some changes in where I think we will be heading. But I'm going to cover that in more detail when we get into the technical analysis. For now, market is pretty flat, not that much going on. We're still waiting for some kind of breakout. And just to go over some quick news pieces, Bithumb got hacked, but they will be recovering all the money that was lost to their users, so users won't be losing any funds. The CEO of Coinbase talked a little bit about market conditions and how the crypto market usually sees cycles, right? Big up cycles with a lot of hype, and then pretty long down cycles where there's not that much going on, but it can be a good time to potentially, accumulate. And the down period where there's not that much hype is an interesting period, right? I've already talked about that before. So he talked about all of this, and it basically just what it comes down to is market cycles, right? So right now we're definitely in a bit of a slump, but that's not to say that we might not see a change in that relatively soon. The last bit of news is that Tether had a bit of an audit by a law firm that said that it was indeed backed by USD one-to-one. Still, some people are a little bit iffy on the whole thing, and it's understandable. I'm not going to go too much into detail on the whole USD tether thing. It's a whole debate, and I'm not really going to go there. But let's talk a little bit more about what's happening with the crypto market right now. So first off, 2 days ago I mentioned how, and by the way, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I've been very active on there, posting a lot of valuable stuff. So definitely check that out, link in the description of this video. Like I was saying, right now the price action that we've seen in the cryptocurrency market has been very suspicious, right? Almost manipulated, where we see some weird spikes or drops and then a lot of flat price action, which would be a sign of manipulation. And I also talked about we have seen a lot of flat price action and suspicious price action, which leads me to think that something is brewing behind the scenes and that we will see, some kind of stronger move. So I asked, I get a lot of people who ask me, where are we heading next, right? In which direction? And keep in mind, I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm just here to share my personal opinion. But I mentioned how that's a pretty hard answer because we're getting so many mixed signals and false alerts. We really have to wait for confirmation to know where we're heading next, right? And confirmation in this case would be some kind of breakout or breakdown in a clear direction, right? And I also mentioned how lots of pressure is being built up recently due to the fact that we're seeing such flat, tight price action and that we're staying in this range for so much time. Usually when we exit this type of consolidation and range, we see a pretty strong move, right? Because there's so much pressure that was built up. So let's talk a little bit more about where we might be heading as far as the direction is concerned. So right now, over the past few days, we've been pretty flat on Bitcoin, and we're actually moving up towards the downtrend line, which is a good sign. We actually have a bit of a hammer candlestick right now, so that's an indecision candlestick, meaning that it's not 100% clear where we're going to be heading next, but at this point we're going to see one of two things. The more bullish side of things is that we did get another positive crossover on the MACD and histogram, so that is quite bullish, and this is the second time around. Usually the second time around it does end up holding. What that means is we might actually end up breaking out of the downtrend line within the next day or two, and we could see a pretty strong move higher, all the way up to $8,000 pretty quickly if we're going to be able to get a strong breakout here. We do have a little bit of resistance due to the middle band, so we might, not get that much of a strong move just yet, but either way, that pressure will still be being built up if we continue to consolidate. So it's not like we're going to miss out on a big move just because it doesn't happen right away. So I didn't want to mention that. However, be aware that since it isn't 100% clear where we're heading, right, we've been kind of bouncing up and down, and we're still in this bigger symmetrical triangle range. We could also end up dropping lower, right down to $5,000 or even closer to $4,500 before we end up getting another sign of where we might be heading. So we could move towards the upside if we're going to break out a bit earlier, or we're going to be in for a bit more downside and we're going to go towards the end of the symmetrical triangle formation. It's very hard to say where we're going to be heading next because, as I said, we're still pretty much downtrending on the RSI. However, the MACD is looking stronger. A lot of mixed signals, and that's why we have to wait for confirmation. Just to recap, and Bitcoin is the market leader, so it's probably the most important one to look into, and Ethereum would be next. But those are the two that are building up pressure, and they are the market leaders. So for Bitcoin, we're going to want to look for a break above the downtrend line over here to start to see a move higher, or we're going to look for a move below the low over here of around basically any move below $6,000 would push us down to $5,000 or a bit closer to $4,500. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum next, see what's going on. Ethereum is actually coming up on its middle band. It's facing resistance from that. Has gotten a positive crossover on the MACD and histogram. Pretty similar action on the indicators as the Bitcoin chart. So at this point, it seems like we will be seeing a little bit more consolidation for Ethereum. And once again, same thing, right? We want to stay above our critical level of $500 to avoid, further downside. And I think that we're going to consolidate a little bit longer. Afterwards, we may be able to see some kind of move above our downtrend line. That's obviously what we're going to be looking for as far as a bullish signal is confirmed and an attempt at a move higher. Litecoin is in a little bit of a different situation as it's actually still below its critical support level of $100, which isn't the best sign. It's been pretty weak. However, it's still been holding up and consolidating right below $100, trying to get that positive crossover in the MACD and histogram. At this point, we're just going to want to try to get back above $100 first, and that way we're going to avoid, more downside, because if we start moving lower in the $90 range, that's when we might start visiting, $50, $40, and going much lower, all the way down to potentially $35. So we want to try to avoid that, and the best way to do that is by getting back above $100. Maybe we might even see an attempt at getting back in the symmetrical triangle range, right? That's definitely possible if we get the market that turns more bullish. However, a lot of it is going to depend on Bitcoin if it's going to, complete its symmetrical triangle formation and go towards the end of that near $4,800, or if it's going to be able to break out of the downtrend line a bit earlier than expected. Either way, pressure is being built up in the marketplace. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Nano. Talking about manipulation and pressure being built up, this is the perfect example. We've seen very suspicious consolidation right at around right about 40,000 satoshis, but basically the bigger range that we're in is between 40,000 and 45,000 satoshis, and this has been going on days now, where we've been kind of bouncing up and down, not seeing that much happen in this range. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ripple next, see what's going on. So going over towards the Bittrex chart, we can see that Ripple is still consolidating, also very flat price action, pressure being built up here. The range that we're in is between 50 cents and 65 cents, so a break of either of those two levels would kind of set the direction that we would be heading in next. And right now we have really no sign of where we're going to be heading next because we're not in any kind of specific formation, right? We actually exited our symmetrical triangle formation and we're kind of where we're at when we exited. So very flat, no clear direction on where we're heading next until we get a clear confirmation breakout. Let's take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be NEO, and see what's going on. So going over the Bittrex chart, we're going to take a look at our previous lines that were drawn out and see what's happening. Right now we're trying to slowly but surely move higher, trying to get that positive crossover on the MACD and histogram. However, we are still below our critical support level of $43, and that isn't the best sign. It's kind of a similar situation to Litecoin here, where we are holding up, but we really want to try to get above $43 to avoid more downside. If we start moving once again, lower in that $30 range, that's where we're going to see more downside. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Stellar Lumens. One of the cryptocurrencies that's been holding up a bit better, and it's in a pretty clear pattern right now in the symmetrical triangle formation, where we still have some time to reach, several weeks here before we reach the end of the formation, which is actually higher than we're currently at. So it is hopeful that we will move higher from here. But for now, it's taking its time, not really doing that much. I expect it to move in the direction towards the end of this formation if the market, doesn't change too much and we continue to see what we have been seeing. However, if we start to see some sharp moves towards the upside or downside, that's where we might see something different happen. However, for now, we can expect it to move alongside the uptrend line, but we really need to stay above the uptrend line for that to happen, right? So that's the only thing that we want to make sure is that we stay above our uptrend line. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next crypto, which is going to be Lisk, see what's going on. So Lisk is very flat right now, right above $6.24. Extremely flat price action. Indicators flattening out quite a bit as well. And we will face some resistance from the middle band. So I'm not expecting too much to happen here. Of course, once again, we really want to try to stay above $6.24, but no guarantees, as Bitcoin is really going to have to set the lead here. And it is possible that Bitcoin goes lower towards $4,800. So if that happens, we will probably be moving below $6 on the Lisk chart. But if we're able to stabilize here and move a bit higher, then we're going to revisit $8, maybe even push towards $10 within the next few weeks. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Cardano, and we're going to see what's going on. So going over the Bittrex chart, Cardano actually experienced a pretty harsh drop today. We're now going to be heading probably back down to mid 2000s Satoshi area, or actually sorry, even a bit lower than that, closer to 2,200 Satoshis, and definitely possible that we actually test 2,000 Satoshis at this point, seeing that this drop is now confirming that we're going to move lower here on the Cardano chart. Indicators probably going to see a dip as well. So I'd say 2,200 Satoshis would be the first stop, and after that, probably going to get a test of that 2,000 Satoshi level, which will be very important, because the move below that is going to push us all the way down back to our breakout area at 1,254 Satoshis, and that would close the breakout gap basically. Let's go ahead and take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. It's going to be IOTA, as per usual. And let's go ahead and see what's going on. We're going to go over the Bitfinex chart here. Right now, IOTA is still consolidating in a very flat manner right above $1.13. We got a nice little hook over back on the MACD. That could lead to a bit of a push higher. We still have some room to move up based on where our middle band is at around $1.47. However, a lot of resistance there, so I wouldn't count on getting above that just yet. For now, just expect some consolidation between $1.13 and $1.47. If we start moving below $1.13, that's when we're going to start heading down towards $1 and possibly below that. So that's when things get a bit more dangerous. With that being said, this is the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.